Welcome into our overtime segment here at SportsSource.tv. We appreciate you joining us. This segment brought to you by Blue Smoke Cigar. I always look over there because it's the monitor there that you see is over there on my monitor. So, Blue Smoke Cigar, they do great stuff out there. They've got they've got card tables, they've got the golf simulators, they've got leather seating, they've got all kinds of televisions, HDs all over the place. They got a walk-in humidor that's fantastic. Some of the best boutique cigars in America and some of the best big-name cigars in America, all at good prices. Blue Smoke Cigar, and you can get your own personalized locker. It's a really cool place to hang out if you're like me and you enjoy a good cigar. Blue Smoke Cigar. All right. We didn't get a chance to talk about the Tennessee-LSU game in today's show, so I'm joined by Jimmy Hyams, Josh Ward, Chuck Cavaleris. Tennessee has an interim coach last night. They come out. They certainly go for it on fourth down. They let it all hang out. Didn't work. 30-10 the loss. Your thoughts, opening thoughts, just first thoughts on the game.
I thought Tennessee played hard early. They held LSU to 9 rushing yards in the first quarter, and with about, 3 minutes left in the first half, Tennessee had a 101-41 edge in yards. They were behind because they had some muff punts, but I thought they played hard. They did a nice job. I thought they were a little bit thin the second half. And speaking of thin, that offensive line's unbelievable.
I can't, let's hold off on the injuries. I want to come back to the injuries. Your guys' thoughts on Brady Hoke or the team. Were you a little surprised? We wondered, you don't know if they're going to come out with more pep in their step, so to speak, with the coaching change. Some teams tank it, some teams don't. They didn't early. I think they just got worn down, but they did have more energy out there. Do you think that was because they were relieved? Do you think that was because they're glad Butch Jones was gone? That's how it's going to be taken. Do you think that was it, or do you just think Brady Hoke changed some things up, got them fired up? What was your opinion on why Tennessee came out and looked better last night?
Yeah, no pressure maybe going in. I mean, pressure to try to win both games, I guess, and go to a bowl game. But John said that Brady Hoke let it all hang out. I mean, you're going for it deep in your own territory on fourth down. Yeah, that's telling the guys, hey, let's go try something. It didn't work, obviously. And going in, I thought Tennessee's got to win the turnover battle. I think that every week at this point with Tennessee, and instead Tennessee lost and turned it over deep in its own territory. Those were costly mistakes, and it was too much over 4 quarters for Tennessee.
Yeah, it looked more offensively like I think we've all wished they would have at least tried some things instead of just doing the same thing over and over.
Got up under center.
You have got to, with all of the wind and all of the conditions, you do not try and catch the punch. You let it hit the ground. I mean, I don't care if it rolls 20 yards, and you also mishandled a kickoff that didn't turn out. So that was one thing that I wish they would have just said, just let the ball hit the ground, don't even try and catch, because it was like trying to hit a knuckleball.
I also thought that gets into my takeaway from the game, and that is you still went back to the team that couldn't get out of your own way. I mean, you're depleted with injuries at this point. Again, we'll get to that in a second. But even with the injuries, penalties, just dumb false start penalties.
Tennessee had a penalty before its first offensive play.
Exactly.
They opened up first and 15.
This was odd, too, because of Tennessee's muff and punt. LSU had 8 possessions in the first half. Tennessee had 5.
It's rare to find that stat.
And it's a full possession. I'm not talking about, Tennessee took a knee at the half.
Right.
But there were 8 full possessions for LSU, 5 for Tennessee. There were the 2 muff punts, and then LSU took the opening kickoff. Yeah. So that's enough. But I thought Tennessee, for the most part, if you look at the scoring drives for LSU, 5 scoring drives, which included field goals and touchdowns, for a combined total of 153 yards. That's all. One of them was a 4-play, 2-yard drive field goal. So field position killed Tennessee, I thought, last night.
Why was the defense better last night than it has been the previous weeks? Did we see any schematic changes? Daniel Batuli was on the field a whole lot last night. I saw a lot more Batuli, I thought.
I did too. I also thought I saw a lot more people in the box.
Yes.
If you're going to beat us, Danny Etling, you're going to throw it. And so I thought they put more in the box to try to stop them. I thought they played with more energy. Look, Kendall Vickers even acknowledged against Missouri that they didn't play with the effort on defense they should have, in particular the second half. That wasn't the case against LSU. And so I think more effort, more energy, putting more in the box, I think those things helped.
I think, it's one of those things that whether it was we're glad to get rid of a coach we didn't like, and I don't know that that's everybody over there based on the tweets and those things they said. But even if it wasn't that, then it looks like it was, at the very least, we're tired of all the nonsense that's surrounding this coach. Like you said, kind of a relief, the pressure's off, that we're no longer having to hear, are they going to fire him? Is he going to stay? Are they going to fire him? Okay, now that's done. Let's get out here and play some football. I wanted to say that the crowd was unbelievable last night, early on. Now, after you had the weather stuff and the lights go out. But there aren't a lot of schools in the country that would have had a pretty good crowd like they did in that kind of the bad weather night. You are over in the SEC, and you still had a crowd that showed up pretty well early. I thought that was impressive.
It was a terrible weather night, too. I mean, especially at the second half. I mean, it just got outrageous. But fans knew that it was going to be bad, and then started to see radars and knew that it was going to be terrible. I mean, that's going to be a once or twice in a lifetime type
And
game,
I think
for a lot of those
somebody
players and
has
coaches.
to get with the SEC office and say, why did you start the second half? What, you know the storm was coming through and you knew it was dangerous with the winds and the hard rain and everything else. You could have waited like 15 minutes. You knew that the hard rain and everything was moving through. I mean, the coaches on the sidelines couldn't even see where the ball was.
But what's interesting is that Brady Hoke in his post game did not challenge it and say, hey, let's stop it. He said he talked to Orgeron. They said, let's play on. I would have challenged it. I wouldn't have wanted to be in that situation. But he didn't. He said, it's okay. We're both playing the same
Isn't
deal.
it kind of
That
amazing?
surprised me a little bit.
Lightning can be 30 miles away. If you see it from the top of the press box, you're supposed to stop the game, almost evacuate. But you can have something like that come through and they say play on.
Any word I haven't seen this morning? I haven't seen anything on the piece of metal that fell from the Jumbotron. Any word on whether or not someone was hurt in that accident?
They said one person might have been hit, and it looked just like a big rectangle black piece of something off the, I thought they said scoreboard. But I don't think it was a serious injury from the report I saw.
I don't know. We had a guy call our show this morning that said that he was there and he saw a lot of LSU fans come to the guy's rescue to help him. And he was injured, but I don't think it was serious. That's the good news. But they did take him off to treat him.
Yeah.
Wonder if that's Neyland Stadium is now going to be named after this guy once he files suit.
The renovation is underway.
Yeah, they'll be working on that Jumbotron, but that's.
And
I wonder
I
what
hope
the
he is okay.
liability is.
Yeah, I hope he is okay. That could have been really bad. You,
Right.
I mean, you saw
Absolutely.
that. Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
could have been a disastrous situation.
That's why I'm saying. I wonder if
Yeah.
wonder if he's calling an attorney or
His,
anything right now. That's a concern. It's a serious concern.
Oh, yes, it is. It is. Well, the goalpost that one time was leaning
Oh, yeah,
over.
yeah.
I mean, I've never seen that. I've seen a lot of football. I've never seen that.
Injuries. You mentioned them. I mentioned them. I've never seen anything like this. You combine last year and this year, and I know they had some 2 seasons ago, but last season and this season, I've never seen anything like it. And specifically, the offensive line. You're down to walk-offs.
I went back and counted, and I hope I didn't miscount. I had 14 offensive linemen on Tennessee's roster in August on scholarship. They ended up with 4 scholarship offensive linemen in that game. Joe Keeler comes in and plays at the end of the game after Ja'Shawn Robertson got hurt. There's not much you can do with the offensive line when you're decimated like that. At least a couple of them, including Brett Kendrick, have had concussions. And while on the injuries, Will McBride was a concussion, I'm told. That's why he didn't play. And then Chandler, early in that game on a kickoff,
Yes.
and that certainly looked like a concussion. You're right. It's been unbelievable the last 2 years, the number of injuries Tennessee has had, and they're all over the place. It's concussions, it's knees,
Yes.
it's shins, it's ankles,
Wrists.
shoulders. So it's been amazing.
Falling on helmets.
It looks like a roster that a first-year coach would take over with a program on NCAA restrictions. That's the way the roster looks now at the end of the season.
Well, look, why don't you look at moving somebody from the defensive line like McKenzie to guard, or I mean, at
I
least
don't know if
to
you can
fill
do it
in some.
mid-season, but I bet you whoever the next coach is looks at that.
Well, I mean, I think that's an obvious type thing to look at. I mean, you're down to like pulling somebody out of the stands. Almost.
I think he'd have a better chance of having any kind of a professional career if he did go to the offensive line.
Oh, I agree.
I'm surprised his father hasn't suggested that at some point. And let's talk about that moving forward. We'll wind up with this. A couple of people tweeted me last night. You look at the way they're playing. You look at the roster. You really want to say that they're better off than they were when Jones took over. I think when you say that, you're talking about the overall program. I do think the stuff behind the scenes is much better now. And I do think if this team were healthy, this roster would look a lot better than it does right now. And nobody ever wants to hear about injuries, but when you're missing, you got an 85-man scholarship limit. You got 85 guys on your team, and you're down to 60 or 65 guys? That's a quarter of your team. You can't win that way. Nobody's going to look good when you're down to 60 players.
I think 14 have been lost to the season at various times.
Yeah.
And then about 8 others have missed at least one game. You had at least 4 that have been suspended. So when you add all that up, that's a lot of attrition. And certainly there have been some players that have not been as good as you would hope. But
And some who just left.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Which
then
also
some
factors
of,
in.
and some of these injuries are to some of your best players.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's Kirkland or Robertson going out of the game the other day, or whether it's
Jennings, first
Juwan
game of the year.
Jennings right early in the season, Todd Kelly Jr. I mean, you've had some key players that have gone down that have certainly hurt.
Yeah, yeah. But it does look, if you look at the roster, I think a coach looking at it, a coaching candidate looking at it would say, there's some talent here. And there is some talent there. I think you may have to move some guys around. But I do believe, yes, even though it didn't look like it last night because half of them are over in ICU, I do think the roster, when healthy, does look better than the one. Next year's roster should look better than the one Butch Jones walked in and inherited from Derek Dooley, is my guess. We'll see. We'll know more in August what that roster looks like. Chuck, Josh, Jimmy, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching today. We appreciate you each and every week for being with us. We will see you, let's see, talk to you on the radio with this guy on Friday. Then we'll see you on Saturday on Fox 43, and we'll see you Sunday right back on WATE 6 for the Sports Source. See you then.